I'm a shaman, and a shaman works with the spirit world and the physical world. And I help people with their everyday problems that they've tried everything with. So, people trying to lose weight, people with financial problems, people who've done all the things, right? Debt counseling, they've tried bankruptcy, they've done all these different weight loss pills and injections and programs and everything. And come to find out, there's a spiritual reason behind it. It's not maybe what the doctors were thinking, or it wasn't that person's fault necessarily. There was an outside force, sometimes inherited, sometimes it's from this lifetime, and it's just weighing them down. They're not able to make different choices because they have this negative energy forcing them to do pretty much the opposite of what they want. And I help them get that force out, get the manipulation out, and then they're able to move on their own steam, so to speak.
Hey, what are you doing New Year's Eve? Going out to a party? Well, I got a treat for you. What if you experience a party right at home on your Zoom camera, right in front of your Zoom? A party, a historical party. The Love of Dunbar Collective presents Life's a Party with the story blowout on December 21st, 2025, Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. You can come and listen to a fun event where we share Paul Laurence Dunbar's poems, including the one, The Party. If you're not familiar with Paul Laurence Dunbar, this is an excellent time for you to get exposed to the genius of this man, featuring storytellers from all across the country. Nasheed Ali, Betty Holt Haskins, the Viveka Deans, Ronald Carter, Mama Nzinga, Donna Marie Konzinski, Judy Bateman, Asha B. Rich, myself, Carol B. Brown Jones, Melanie Payne, Oni Lasana, artist coordinator. Join us. This is a free event. Donations are appreciated. You can register at www.loveadunbar.com. You're going to have fun and laugh and enjoy the beautiful poetry from Paul Laurence Dunbar. So join us. Where and when is this party? It's actually part of a big blowout, a story blowout on New Year's Eve, all day long, from 1 p.m. Eastern Time to January 1st, 2026 at 1 a.m. Yeah, storytellers all over the country gathering at segments to present programs. Our Dunbar program is again at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. But we're not the only ones. There's Big Ben Storytelling Circle, the Love of Dunbar, Asian American Storytellers in Action, Storytelling Association of California, Transformational Storytelling, Voice in the Gene, Ubanda Storytellers. Everybody's got a story, and Good Liars Club, and more. Join us. Again, it's free. Donations are appreciated. This is available on Zoom. You do need to register. So here's the QR code and get involved in storytelling in a fun way. Come and listen. This is for the whole family. So gather the children and let's have fun on New Year's Eve.
You're like a breath of fresh air, softly blowing spring through your hair. Sunlight in the sky on your face, bringing joy and love to this place. Bring joy and love to this place in my heart. You bring joy and love to this place in my heart. You bring joy and love to this place in my heart. You bring joy and love to this
I am Carol V. Brown Jones, and welcome to Gigi United by Love. Gigi stands for grandmothers and their girls, and that girl means their daughters, their daughter-in-laws, granddaughters. We're going to throw in the grandsons as well, and cousins, sisters, nieces, and your good friends too. This is for you. That means all women are welcome here. I focus on the grandmothers because grandmothers are special, right? Most of you agree with me. On this podcast, I will share wisdom from wise women, family groups coming together and getting to know each other better, closing the generation gap. Women and some men with some good business tips for us and things that we need to know about. Thank you for being here, and I hope that you will share this program with your friends and subscribe to the YouTube channel and to this podcast. I'm ready to start. In this eye-opening episode, I sit down with remarkable shaman, Charmaine Diallo, a woman whose gift helped me understand myself on a deeper spiritual level. Charmaine shares her journey from growing up in a strict, skeptical household in Syracuse, New York, to discovering her spiritual abilities, embracing her calling, and becoming a powerful healer. She's opening up about her early love for language, her path through psychology, and how a series of unexplained experiences led her to explore the spiritual world, work with angels, and develop her own healing modalities. Today, Charmaine helps people release heavy emotional and ancestral energy so they can finally move forward, whether in health, finance, relationships, or purpose. Join us as we talk about how childhood patterns of ancestry energy shapes our lives, how imbalances of fear spread it through communities, and how love lifts it up. Charmaine's wisdom helps remove the fear around spirituality and energy healing, and her approach is grounded, compassionate, and deeply empowering. So, welcome my guest, Charmaine Diallo. Today, I have a very special guest, someone who had came into my life and helped me find out about myself through some special gifts that she has. We have Charmaine with us today. Charmaine, pronounce your last name for us.
Jalo, yeah.
Charmaine Diallo.
Mhm.
Diallo.
Right, yeah.
It doesn't look like Jalo when you spell it. What kind of spelling is that?
So it's West African. It's actually a very, very common name in Senegal, where my husband is from. And it's almost like Johnson here. It's really popular.
Okay,
But the
great.
pronunciation is, it's a different language, but they speak French there, so everything is based on that phonetic alphabet.
I see. Very
Yeah.
interesting. So that tells us a little bit about you. You're starting out with your name. So let's back up before when you were Charlene, when your maiden name,
Oh,
the child.
yeah,
Tell
as
us a
a
little
child.
about little Charmaine.
Well, I grew up in a really strict household, and I'm very spiritual now, but at the time my family they weren't super religious, I don't feel, but they definitely looked down on boohooed spiritual things, anything that wasn't taught at church. That was not in their belief system, and they were really superstitious. But at the same time, my mother specifically mentioned that she knew my aunt and some of my other relatives had spiritual abilities, but she just left it at that. She didn't say anything else about it. And she hinted like you might have them too, but it was never given any importance. It was never given any credence. It was just like, there's this thing we have, and just went on. Yeah.
So where'd you grow up?
I grew up in upstate New York back before the global warming. It was freezing. all year long. Yes.
What part of state? Buffalo area?
No, further east. I was in Syracuse, like in the middle of the
Syracuse.
state.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, lots of snow, like 9 months out of the year it was snowing. It's still cold up there, but it's not like when I was growing up. And I'm happy to be in Texas.
Oh, you're in Texas now.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Tell us about young Charmaine. What did young Charmaine want to be when you were a young girl? What are you
I
thinking?
went through a lot of different things. I wanted to be a model, a fashion model, but they told me I was too short and I was not slim enough. I was very muscular and I ran track. So that was out the door. I was too short. And also, I wanted to be a pharmacist. And mostly because I worked in a pharmacy. That was my first job. Before all these big franchises, they had little mom and pop drugstores. And that's where I worked. It was more like a general store. And this was so long ago, I'm telling my age. They didn't even have a computerized pricing system. I had to memorize the price of everything. But I was just so impressed with the pharmacist. And so that was like the only job beside teaching that I got to view. When I went to school, I saw the teacher, didn't want to do that. But then I saw the pharmacist. And I was just impressed. And I thought that they helped people and they didn't have to go to school as long as a doctor. So I thought, hey, what about that? That was the first kind of job I was able to really observe. Yeah.
Okay, so taking care of people
Yes.
was part of it, helping people feel
Helping. Yeah.
better. All right, all
Yeah.
right. So did you get a chance to go to further on school to
I
start studying pharmacy or get
I did, but not in pharmacy. By the time I got to college, I was all into languages. And I didn't understand like studying languages wasn't going to lead to a career. I didn't understand that. And really, I spoke Spanish and French really well. I didn't even need to study. I could have just taken placement tests. But anyway, so I kind of got lost in the language humanities situation and I graduated with a psychology degree. So, which has actually been very beneficial for my business, but it was challenging to find a position with a bachelor's. If I had gone on in psychology, it would have been a little different, probably.
right?
Yeah.
Where'd you pick up the languages? So did you learn them fluently in school?
Yeah, well, you were required to take them in middle school and a little bit in high school, but I got really into it. So I actually, this is again telling my age, it was safe for me to go and talk to strangers. I was going up to 12 years old, going and talking to construction workers and whoever I saw that looked Hispanic to practice Spanish. And that's how I became fluent. People were really friendly and it was pretty safe. And I guess I was also being protected. I just was able to talk to people and pick up the language and learn. It was amazing. I loved it.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah,
people were nice.
things are different. So I guess in Texas there are probably a lot of Hispanic people. But what about the French?
So I didn't get to practice the French as much, but I think I have a gift for languages and it just stuck with me. And then years later, I married my husband and my in-laws only speak French. They speak their African language as well. But I had the French and I had to pull out my high school and college French. So that was good. Like I felt good. Like I didn't waste my time studying all those languages because I used to feel crazy. Like, why am I so into this? But then later, I actually had a chance to use it. So I'm happy.
That just shows us how even as we're young, for some reason we're drawn to certain things for a reason,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
shows up later. Okay, so now tell people what you do now.
I'm a shaman, and a shaman works with the spirit world and the physical world. And I help people with their everyday problems that they've tried everything with. So, people trying to lose weight, people with financial problems, people who've done all the things, right? Debt counseling, they've tried bankruptcy, they've done all these different weight loss pills and injections and programs and everything, and come to find out there's a spiritual reason behind it. It's not maybe what the doctors were thinking, or it wasn't that person's fault necessarily. There was an outside force, sometimes inherited, sometimes it's from this lifetime, and it's just weighing them down. They're not able to make different choices because they have this negative energy forcing them to do pretty much the opposite of what they want. And I help them get that force out, get the manipulation out, and then they're able to move on their own steam, so to speak. Yeah.
Wow, that fascinates me. And I have had opportunity to work with you, so I know that what you do is legitimate. And some people are thinking, I don't know about that.
The way
What
I
do you,
grew up, I get it.
yes, I'm sure. How did you find your way to do this?
Like a kind of a funny story. I had probably my entire from like 25 years old to 30 something, I couldn't sleep. I would wake up middle of the night around 3 o'clock, but I would just lay there and I just put up with it. I don't have like a bunch of friends. So I didn't ask people like, do you wake up? I didn't think anything about it. I just laid there. I would get tired around the time it was to get up and go to work. So I just would get up and go and I just dealt with it. But when my daughter was about 5 years old, she started waking up. And when she woke up, she wouldn't just lay quietly in the bed. She would get up, zoom around upstairs, running all around, and just how do I explain to my husband that my child is not sleeping and she's running all over the place? And it's just I had to figure it out. So I did a lot of research and I found out we had an ability and I had to harness it so that we could sleep. And so now, years later, everything is under control, but it was just crazy at that time. I was just trying everything, trying to figure it out. And I actually ended up having to talk to a psychic, which I never would have done if all those crazy things were not happening. I would never have gone to a psychic the way that I grew up. Yeah. But I had to figure it out. And my coworker recommended me to go talk to a psychic. And it was really nothing like I had imagined. I had this frightening crystal ball and all this kind of stuff. And I just talked to her on the phone. And the woman was very kind and she just gave me information and turns out there was someone trying to contact me from the other side. And I just had to learn how to not allow them to do that in the middle of the night. We had to do it in the daytime. And then if we wanted to, I wasn't even required. So I had to learn all those things. And it took me a while because I was pretty much self-taught, except for what she told me. And yeah, I'm grateful.
How do you teach yourself to be a shaman?
I mean, I'm not going to pretend like I didn't have books, but I also learned to communicate with my angels. And so I also downloaded information. I received information and I actually was able to create a new modality from all the information that I received. And I was able to find other shamans to test it with. And then, of course, using it for my clients. Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. That is so interesting. And
Yeah.
I'm sure, like you said, your family was saying, what? What
Well,
in the world is going on with Charmaine?
I don't give them a whole bunch of info. In the beginning, I did because I had to get over my own negative connotations and my own beliefs. So I did have to drop a bomb on them and say, this is what I do, this is what I believe. And it wasn't what I grew up knowing and believing, but it was healing for me to say, I don't agree with what you told me when I was little, and I still love you, but this is what I believe now, and this is what works for me in my family. And it wasn't a comfortable conversation, but it was very healing for me. Yeah.
And that's important, the healing for you.
Yeah.
Because I'm all about teaching self-love. And for you to find your purpose that was trying to develop outside of you to
Mhm.
come out and be expressed, you're a gift for people that God has given you this gift to share. And that's so I'm sure there's a lot of people watching this that are skeptical about is it sacrilegious and is it true? And what are some of the things you talk to people who come with those type of mindsets? What do you say to them?
To be really honest with you, I don't attract those types of people mostly because I work with mostly referrals. So the people who come to me are already understand what's going on. They already know. But if I do come across someone, I did actually, that's not true. I did meet someone a few days ago, which was our daughters were playing and we were having fun. And she was telling me how she was so into her religion. And I just kept on stating things that I knew were true. And for example, she was talking about her religion, her faith. I won't say what it was, but she was talking about her faith. And I said, that's correct. And then I just showed her parallels of how, for example, Jesus and some of the other prophets had done certain things and how it was energy and how some of the healing abilities that they have are not just for them, but for us as well. And some of the things that are misconceptions, things that are left out of some religions and some traditions, some included, and it's there. She was able to see what I was saying was true. And she was actually, now we have great conversations, and she points out things that she's noticed. And she's starting to kind of see that it's not getting in the way of her beliefs, it's not disturbing her religion. It was more like maybe this information was hidden from me to keep me from stepping into my full power, and that I can still be as strong in my faith as I was before. This isn't stopping me from believing. This moves with my faith. But people have to be open-minded to even hear that.
That's true. They do have to be open-minded to think about what Jesus, if they just really would go back and listen to what Jesus taught,
Mhm.
that what he was doing, that we could do as well with the right training and the belief and
Yeah,
the belief is the biggest thing I would say.
yeah.
Believing that is possible and that is appropriate.
Right. And if you're attracted to something, that's something else that even when I was still really early in my learning, I was very afraid because of how I was taught and the prejudices, etc. But I was still interested. And if somebody is afraid, but they're still interested, that's different than somebody that's just afraid and doesn't want to know anymore, doesn't want to hear anymore. Somebody who's still curious, even though it's frightening, you may be onto something. That's what I always say. And if you feel like there's some things that this religion has me confused about, and I'm not just saying religion, I'm talking about culture, I'm talking about any kind of beliefs that are handed to you. If you still feel curious, if you still have questions that aren't answered, then you might need some different information. It may be something is lacking because they don't want people using their power.
Mm.
If you could do things on your own volition and your own power, then you wouldn't need some of the structures that are in place. And that's what a lot of organizations, including religion, don't want people to know, that there are things you can do without them.
Yeah, I just want to remind you of my Tuesday talk. Tuesday talk is usually based on my new book, Get on Board the New Underground Railroad. Harriet Tubman's spirit is guiding us to love and actions. This week, I am talking still about Kwanzaa. Started talking about Kwanzaa last week, as Kwanzaa is incorporated in Chapter 8, Internal Life and Legacy. In this program, I'm going to have some of my fellow Love a Dunbar participants. In this session, I'm going to be talking about legacy. Legacy from Harriet Tubman, legacy in my own life. Have you think about the legacy in your life? Who can you look to that gave you the culture, the guidance, the information that has made you who you are today? As a treat, some of my co featured Love a Dunbar members are going to be with me and share a little bit about Paul Laurence Dunbar. Why? Because that's part of my legacy from my mother, and it fits perfectly.
Life's a party, and we are ready to party to share with you the spoken words of the great storyteller, poet, and author Paul Laurence Dunbar. We celebrate you, too, for accepting our invitation to this party today. Life is a party, and we're going to throw away our troubles and be grateful to be in the safety and security of our homes. The world's getting kind of scary. So, what better way to take your mind off the madness and be here to party with the joy of spoken word poetry and storytelling?
And we'll let you know what's coming up on Wednesday, the 31st of December, as we will have Party by Paul Laurence Dunbar, a very entertaining opportunity to listen and learn more about the poetry genius of Paul Laurence Dunbar. So join us on the Tuesday Talk, 6 p.m. That's 6 p.m. Pacific time on Zoom. The registration link here for you so that you can be a part of the conversation on Tuesday, 6 p.m., December 30th. As I agree, let's talk a little bit about energy, because you know that I have worked with you
Yeah.
for several months. I mean, probably over a year.
Yeah, for
Almost
sure.
a year. And you taught me a lot. And all at the same time, I was learning about energy medicine. Actually, that's how I met you.
Right.
Yeah, I was at a conference or webinar on energy medicine, and they gave us an opportunity to connect with some providers. Talk
Right.
about energy medicine as far as healing,
Hmm.
healing ailments, dis-ease.
Yeah. So whenever people have a traumatic experience, so whether it's in your lifetime or maybe your ancestors experienced it, the body is like the ultimate record keeper. The body holds on to that energy. And ideally, like in ancient times, people will go to a healer regularly, just like you go for your checkups, you go for your dental visits. The dentist catches things before they get out of hand, right? You don't wait 10 years between doctor visits. You don't wait 10 years between dentist visits. So this would be the same thing. Your healer would say, oh, you were traumatized when XYZ happened to you at 15. Well, you're not going to be 40 when they find it. You're going to be 16 or 17, and it will be maybe something caught in your heart or maybe something in your shoulder. And this is really where those statements and sayings, pain in the neck, burden on my shoulder, those things are real. When people, oh, I have a mysterious pain, or all of a sudden I have sciatic problems, etc. Sometimes that's energy that needs to move. And healing is just addressing it. The body is just keeping that record there. The body is like, hey, you had this trauma 10 years ago and you never addressed it. And the body's just, hey, here's a reminder. Every time it rains, you're going to have this pain, or every time XYZ happens, you want to go play a certain sport, you're going to feel it until you address it. And then once it's addressed, the pain is supposed to go away. But our culture, just talking about like a Western American culture, the idea is just get rid of the pain. Just get rid of the pain. But that is like your alert system. You want that alert so you can take action. And the action is moving the pain out of the body. Move in it. You don't want it to get to pain, honestly. You want to get it to where it's just maybe a little issue and then you're just moving it out. And that's what healers do. We're not doing anything special. And for me, I really am not doing anything. I work with people's angels. I don't even take any of the credit. I'm like a switchboard operator.
That's a good way of saying it, the switchboard
Yeah.
operator.
Yeah, I'm not carrying the call. I'm not connecting the line. I'm just following instructions. Party line.
And that's good to say that you're working with people's angels. Now,
Yeah.
that shouldn't be frightening to anyone. The fact that you are connecting with their guardian angels, you basically connect with.
Yeah, guardian angel. Everyone has a purpose angel, and that's just for your life purpose. And some people say, I can't figure out what I'm supposed to do with my life. I like my job, but I don't feel like this is what I'm supposed to do. Well, your purpose angel can tell you, well, you're using some of your skills, but your calling is not to do XYZ. Your calling is over here. And then people start moving towards what they're called to do, right? That's their option. So you have a guardian angel. Your guardian angel is there your whole life, and they're there to literally guard over you. That's the angel people know, like, oh, I saw my guardian angel when I had a almost fatal car crash or whatever. Yeah, that's real. Your guardian angel helped you get out before the car blew up or whatever. They don't infringe on our free will, but if your life is at risk, they will come to us and make sure that we are safe. And then we also have spirit guides. And spirit guides are angels that used to be people, And so they can understand your suffering. They can understand because they were here. They understand the pain of breaking a leg or having some issue. They get it because they went through a human experience too.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Now, my new book
Hmm.
is Get on Board the New Underground Railroad, and
Hmm.
Harriet Tubman's spirit is guiding us to love and actions. And I talk about my earth angels, with a little, just a name that I picked up from someone else, but it's just talking about special people that really have, in some way, touched your heart and impacted you or guided you or inspired you. What's the real equivalent to someone being here? Light workers, or what are the titles called for somebody that's really here in your life, s- spiritually connected in some way?
Hmm.
I think
Hmm.
everyone you meet is actually some way connected to your purpose or your reason here. I
I
believe that
agree.
and I may learn from this from you, that we have, before we came here, we had contracts with
Hmm.
people, and that everyone is doing their part to help us move towards our goal in life, our purpose.
I
Explain that.
like Earth Angel. I think that's a perfect explanation. It's somebody here in human form. And I do believe that we come from the spirit realm back to the Earth if we weren't human before. And we're here for a reason. Yeah, everybody has a purpose, and it doesn't have to be a huge purpose. Sometimes your purpose is to be someone's spouse and to support them, and there's nothing wrong with that. And that can be someone's entire purpose, or to be someone's mother or father. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't, everyone doesn't have to become president. They only need one president at a time.
Please.
So I'll leave that alone. But we only need one at a time. So everybody doesn't have to come here to move a mountain. Maybe you're just going to be someone to raise a child in a different way and get a revolution going just in that child's mind. Or you're just here to support someone who's doing something. There's not a problem. Either way, your purpose can be anything.
Exactly. Your purpose is to be who you are,
Yeah.
full out.
Yeah,
And what brings you joy is part of what you're here to do. So if
for
you
sure.
just are just the most loving individual that people just are drawn to, you just make them feel good. You may cook for them. Maybe you
Right.
just have kind words. You're living your purpose.
That's right.
I talk to women all the time who have lost their understanding of how worthy they are, and who have thinking are in the thinking that they're not doing anything purposefully,
Yeah.
but they are.
Yeah, there's different seasons too. And people have different seasons. I think as women are told that certain seasons are more important than others. And like I'm heading into another season. I'm heading out of my childbearing season. And that I was taught is like the end of your life. Your body's going to fall apart. You're going to lose your looks, all these things. But actually, we're not meant to do that. Everyone is glorifying when we are dependent, because that's really a lot of what pregnancy is about. And you're still learning, right? But by the time you get to where you're not in your childbearing years, you are so wise, and it's not time to be discarded. It's not the end. That's when you develop into another person. And that hasn't been taught to us. We see men stepping into their gray time, if you want to call it, their gray years, and they are distinguished and they are this, they are that. But we're old and tired and broken down, according to whoever. And it's just, I hear what you're saying. And a lot of what we've been taught, but I had the pleasure of speaking with some professionals who know different. And I'm so happy the message is getting out that all of our seasons are important, not just when we're chronologically youthful. All the seasons are good, all the seasons have value. It's not just when we look a certain way for other people and we do certain things for other people. Sometimes it's about giving your value in words, not always action, like you said. It could be anything. There's
Exactly. I
Mhm.
agree. And for grandmothers, that's my target, because we are the wisest people on earth. If you look at it, we've been here,
True.
we've gone through it, we've survived.
Yes.
We can talk about it. We can teach other people that they can come through it as well.
Right.
Just because of the experience, and experience gives you wisdom. So all of us, if you're still breathing, you still have purpose.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Teach us something else about what people should know about
I
energy or
just
spirit, or what you like to teach people.
Sure. I'm a shaman. And so I work with the heaviest, darkest energy on the planet, not just the irritation you got from being in a traffic jam, but really heavy, low energy that can be demon. I'll just say it. And that bothers some people. But the issue is it's all energy. And if we are not bringing back balance on this planet, right? I didn't say eradicating evil. That's too big of a job. And there are too many people who want it to continue to be able to get rid of it anyway. But if people are not doing something to bring back balance, then we are going to continue to see genocide and terrible things happening to people, starvation, unequal sharing of wealth, unequal sharing of resources. Not that everyone has to be equal, but just the devastation and the lack that's there, that's not normal. You shouldn't be able to name 10 or 15 countries where people are living on $1 a day. And that would be okay if $1 would cover their expenses, but they're in desperation every single day. And this shouldn't be happening for decades when there are people wasting in other places. And to me, that's wickedness. There's wickedness everywhere. It's not just things that you see and you can just point your finger and say, oh, that's wicked. This felony or that crime is wicked. Yes, but not allowing a child to learn to read is also wicked if you think about it, because it takes away choices. So my whole point is there's a lot of wickedness that's not being attended to. And by us being imbalanced, we can help bring back balance. We can't stop, like, you can't necessarily go to one of those countries and just start feeding people. That's not necessarily what you can do. But like you said, if you work on your self-love and you're bringing more love to the planet, it still is shifting the balance, and it can still help because it's all energy. Everything is energy. So I guess the biggest thing I want to say is that remember there are outside forces that can be affecting you. You can be in a perfectly good mood, your spouse can be in a perfectly good mood, and then all of a sudden, one of you feels like arguing and fighting, and no one did anything to anybody else. There's an outside force that can affect people. And if that's something that you're curious about, you need to find out more about it. If it scares you and you're not interested, then you move on. But everybody can do the self-love that you're talking about. And that right there is going to eliminate a lot of the negativity and wickedness that's happening, that's out there.
Yes, we can only change ourselves.
That's it.
And when we are looking inside for our joy and happiness, that's tapping into the energy of God.
Mhm.
And that is not held within. Once you find it within, it spreads out,
Yeah.
right? We impact others around it. People can
That's
feel
right.
somebody's in joy and happiness and loving attitude compared to someone with a lot of negativity going on and hate and all that. I call
Mhm.
that's the
Yeah.
evil attitude that is off balance. We have just too much of it.
Right.
And so, yeah, we have to look within and start with ourselves.
That's it.
That's it. So that's
Mhm.
why I use Harriet Tubman to talk about self-love because, like you said, for her and the people who were enslaved in this country, the black people enslaved,
Mhm.
they were forbidden to read and because they knew if they were able to learn, not that they didn't learn on daily activity things
Right.
to do and skills, things like that, but to read and
Mhm.
to be able to get more educated about many different things,
That's
that
right.
they were going to excel in everything.
Get
Like,
organized, get
yes,
new ideas, not just what they're fed, new things
right.
to think about, new ideas. Yeah. That's what reading has been for me. I don't eat like my family. I don't live like my family. The way that I grew up was very different. And it wasn't because I disliked what they did. I thought it was fine, but I read books. I read about vegetarianism. I read about wearing your hair naturally. I read about those things before there was so much on the internet. And it was like, this makes more sense to me than this other thing I was doing. If you don't have a choice to read, you lose your choice to think. Yeah.
That's true. I like that statement. If you don't have a choice to read, you use your choice to think,
Right.
because our thinking is so much influenced from the outside world.
Yeah.
The things that are on TV, the
Right.
news, the social media, it
Mhm.
wants you to think a certain way, and it wants to keep us divided
Yeah.
and in fear. And when we're in that way, we it's harder to be open-minded, to
Mhm.
be willing to learn something new, like you're trying to teach us now.
Yeah.
How there's a lot of positively positivity in learning about our energy and what energy means. And because if people start learning, they realize everything is energy. That's what I've learned about the quantum physics. Everything is
Right. That's
energy.
exactly what I was going to say. Physics. Yeah, physics. It's been there the whole time. It just wasn't presented to us. We were taught, but it wasn't presented that this is energy, that the apple is energy, that your thoughts are energy, that what you're saying to someone it has a vibration, and you can speak love and kindness, like you said, or you can speak something else, and
Mhm.
that vibration attracts more to it. So even if you don't like somebody, if you can find a way, even be fake and be nice to them because you really don't want to, you're still attracting something more positive than if you really went into what you thought about them and what you didn't like about them. That's why Mother Teresa and people who I feel like really did understand energy never went to anti kind of rallies. They only went to things that were pro. So whatever it is, it has to be pro, in favor of, because you're still replicating whatever that is. You don't want to go to anti something because you're replicating. The universe doesn't hear no. The universe hears what you're pushing, whatever it is. Even if you're pushing against, it's still the same way. Yeah.
I think the quote from Mother Teresa was, I won't go to an anti-war rally, I'll go to a peace rally.
There you go.
Go
Yeah.
with the words need to stay positive. Like you said, our conscious doesn't understand the negative words. It just hears
No, 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 no.
war.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And people don't realize how much power each individual does have
That's right.
as far
That's
as
right.
especially on their own destiny. We're
Mhm.
creating our own world by our thoughts. That has
Yeah.
given me the best understanding in the last few years. Since I first started talking to you, I still continue to study and listen to other people. And it just gives
Mhm.
me so much, feels good to know that when I pray, I'm praying not just for me, but my prayers are also influencing the lives of other people.
Yeah,
Each one of us can do that. So
it's
that's
true.
powerful.
True. Yeah, and
Yeah.
people pick up energy from the collective, even though they may want to act like they're immune or whatever. People pick it up. Imagine when there was like all the hysteria around COVID. A lot of that was from the collective, just a few people spreading certain kind of negative information. I'm not going to say positive, or I mean, I'm not going to say true or false. I'm going to say negative. So it was negative information and it was fear. That was the main thing that was spreading more than even the virus. People were afraid. And that fear is a very low vibration and it will drag you down if you let it. The hope
Mm,
doesn't mean things are better. Hope just is a better vibration, it's a higher vibration. Yeah.
yes. And that helps balances. More people with a higher vibration, it's going to help bring up the balance to
Mhm.
balance from the negative. Yeah. So we
And
all
your
have purpose to do that.
yeah, yeah. Even your food choices change when you raise your vibration. The things
Mm.
that you
And
want.
I think it's probably a two-way street because the better nutrition makes your body healthier, and that also can attract better vibration because we got so much chemical stuff in us now
Right, right.
that
Yeah.
we're being blocked. You're probably feeling that when you talk to people. I don't know, but
Yeah.
it's we have so much. Do you work with children too?
I do occasionally, but mostly with adults. Yeah, we talked about working with children. That's not my purpose, but I hope that eventually someone that I trained would be interested in doing that because I think if we can help children get rid of some of their ancestral stuff and some of their childhood baggage before they go into romantic relationships and go out and try and get a career, we can stop some of those negative ancestral patterns. And I think things would be a lot different for those children. They could just step into who they are instead of carrying their grandma's weight and carrying the legacy of slavery, if that's in their genetic code. The legacy of almost every race has slavery as a part of their genetics. And just the the conversation around money for people who were slaves and the conversation around health and physical, it's in relationships as well for
Mhm.
people who were enslaved at any level. It affects everything. Yeah.
That's why I ask about children before their bodies aren't as contaminated with years of all the negative energy and food and chemicals and stuff like that. I'm just wondering if you can pick up something different. But that's the one reason why I have wrote this book for girls, the
Mhm.
Harriet Tubman Way,
Yeah.
inspirational guide to self-love empowerment for legendary leadership for girls, because exactly what you're saying, we need to help them find their joy and their worthiness to hold on to that
Oh, yeah.
and to shake off those long generational, I wouldn't call them curses, but the like you mentioned, our
False
think
messages.
process. Yeah. That if you come from this part of town, you're never going to be anything.
Right.
That has been debunked many, many times. You see
Mm.
people
Oh, yeah.
all the time who can tell their story and where they came from. And it's all in their mind, right?
Yeah. Yeah. There is something to be said for what you're exposed to, but even that has a vibration. And I've seen, like you said, people who either through books and other experiences exposed themselves to something else, just made a different decision in their mind. Yeah, that energy goes with you, and whatever you choose is there. But I have to also say that if someone doesn't get rid of those chains, those ancestral chains, those childhood abuse, those types of things, it's going to still be there under the surface. It has a lot of momentum. Energy has momentum. And you're saying something positive, you're wanting something positive to happen, but it's new. It doesn't have as much momentum as all that generational stuff that you're talking about. That has much more momentum and it can overtake the positive that you want to create because so and so lived through the Great Depression and they were hoarding food or they were hoarding whatever. That has a stronger vibration than the positive stuff that you want to do. So you have to do both. You have to do the positive, but you also have to eradicate that legacy, that negative legacy that's not serving you at the same time.
And what do you recommend for people to try to help them do that?
I mean, the easiest way is to work with a healer to remove it. That's the easiest. But let's say you're afraid, you don't want to work with a healer. The next easiest way is meditation, a guided meditation, some type of meditation. And what meditation does is it slows that train down. The train is the negative energy, right? Let's say poverty is a part of somebody's experience. The train for poverty is going 100 miles an hour. They've got to slow the train down. You can't just put on the brakes. They may need 10 or 15 miles to slow that train down. You got to slow it down, excuse me, in meditation, just quieting your mind. I tell people if you count to 100 2 times, that's 15 minutes and you've meditated. That's it. You don't have to go buy an expensive meditation program. You don't have to go to a special place. Just count to 100 2 times. It's 15 minutes. You are slowing down whatever negativity you have in motion. And that's it. If you do that for 6 months, you're going to see some changes. And then you may feel like you want some energy work to get you to the next level. But if you can't get there, do what you can. And meditation is accessible to everybody. Has nothing to do with any religion or tradition. It's just counting in your head. You can get fancy, you can listen to beats in the background, you can do whatever you want. But if you're so scary, like I'm doing something against my religion or something, just count. There's nothing about counting. That's a problem. Count to 100 twice. Yeah.
That's beautiful. And that's a great way to just summarize this. Everyone has the ability to just go within with
Yes.
simply counting
Mm-hmm.
and just take time to be by themselves and listen or zone out.
Yeah, that's it. And that will help you raise your vibration. That's how I became a vegetarian, honestly. I'm not gonna even play. I was meditating. I didn't know any of the stuff that I know now. This was 20 some years ago when I became a vegetarian. I just decided to meditate and it helped me change my diet. And it wasn't even something I wasn't trying to change my diet. I didn't think anything was wrong with me. I just gradually backed away from it after meditating for about 6 months. And that's not going to happen to everybody. Some people are here to eat meat, and that's cool. But you may notice, hey, I'm not so negative, or I don't get an attitude so quickly, or little stuff that used to bother me, I don't even pay attention to it anymore. That's what you're looking for. That's it. If you could stop having a knee jerk reaction to somebody cutting you off in traffic, you're raising your vibration. That's all you're supposed to do, honestly. There's more
Right.
that can be done, but that's a great start.
Right. And some people don't realize that. I've heard many stories of people start meditation after six
Mhm.
months. They say, oh, it's not doing anything. But then, like you said, somebody noticed that they didn't react
Yeah.
like they used to react on a certain thing when somebody cut them off. And they said, oh, well, he must be in a hurry or
Having a
something,
bad day, right.
a bad day. And
Yeah,
just
give them some
keep on
grace.
riding. And then people looking, what's,
Happy you're
what's
supposed
wrong
to
with
go
you?
out. I'm expecting a show, right? And then you'll lose maybe some friends because they like to do that. My daughter has a really good friend, but the mom likes to be stuck in the tabloids and what's happening with stars and stuff. I like her, but I can't go there. Like when you talk to me, I'm at a certain level. I want to hear about your ideas. What are you creating? I don't want to hear about what other people are doing. They already made their money, right? They're already
Mhm.
doing their thing. I want to, what do you have going on? What are you making? What's with you? What ideas do you have? If you can't talk to me about that, we can't get along.
I know you're a very busy lady. I appreciate this time. And I will link give people your contact information. And I don't know if you're still needing new clients. I know you're growing and growing, but they will be able to at least get a talk with you, a chat, and
That's
find
right.
out things and
Yeah.
learn a little bit one-on-one. I think that would be helpful for a lot of people.
Yes, I'm happy to offer that.
Now, do
Mhm.
you also, I think you at one time, do you still have a Facebook page where you're doing some classes, or is that just for your clients?
No, I have a Facebook group and it's kind of a place. Yeah, a lot of them are clients or past clients, but it's also just a place where if you're like, hey, I see this lady, she's interesting, but I still want to see more about what she's about. What is she talking about? I'm not ready to talk to her yet. I do have a Facebook group and you just ask to join. It's not anything like a subscription or anything like that. And you can just kind of hang out and see what I'm talking about, what we're up to, and see what other people have to say. I put testimonials in there. So it's a kind of place to like check me out. And if that's too much, they can just come and snoop around my website, and that's okay. I won't say anything. You can look around my house and see what's going on. My stories up there, all the clients that share testimonials, I put those up there, and it's just more information. Sometimes we just need to get a feel for things and check it out. So lots of opportunities for that.
Right. And even though Charmaine may not be the person that you're drawn to, it could be someone else. And once you open up your mind and
Mhm.
start looking for these people, they're going to be right in front of you.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
right in
You
front of
attract it. Yeah.
you. Yeah. You
When
attract
you ask the
what?
question, you
Yes.
attract the answer. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
good.
right.
Well, thank you. It was a pleasure to get a chance to talk to you again. And
Likewise. Thank you
you
so much.
you shared some great information that people may not have heard before,
Yeah.
but we want them just not be afraid to listen and
Right.
consider that there may be something new that they need to learn about.
Yes, I agree. The curiosity has to be there.
Yes, yes.
Even if there's fear and other things, the curiosity is a good sign.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it.
Thank you as well, Miss Carol.